So today we are going to focus a little bit on awakening. Welcome to the new year, but we're going to do that, of course, in the style with which I do it, which is we're going to work into it slowly. So you can go ahead and start on your back. If you want to have a little padding under your head, you can. We're going to work on awakening the back side of the body today. Thank you for the special request. So I'm going to lie down on my back. I'm going to bring the bottoms of my feet onto the floor so my knees are bent. And then we're just going to come right into a twist. So I'm going to move my hips up and over. I'm going to go to the right this time. And my feet come up and over towards the left. You could pad between the knees if you need. And then I'm going to open my arms towards a T shape. I might even bring my left hand onto my thighs and just let myself soften here. So after the last couple of weeks of holiday time, I'm feeling a little sticky, both physically and emotionally. Got a lot of relaxing time in. And so today we're working on getting the body moving, getting the body awake, but all with a sense of openness. With a sense of dropping into the breath and the body. Noticing here how your back feels, how your shoulder feels. It feels a little too tight on the stretch. You could lower your legs or your arm down a little bit. And then just kind of letting the spine unravel here. And then if you're not feeling the stretch on the front of your chest so much, for me it's the right side, you could try just reaching that right arm just a little further. Reach out to the fingertips and then soften and let go. And just notice if that increases your stretch. Maybe turn your chin a little more towards that right hand. And just a couple more breaths. And letting the body soften in, allowing yourself to arrive on the mat. All right, when you're ready, you could draw yourself back through center. I'm going to take the other side. I'm going to move my hips up and over towards the left. Let my feet, my legs come over towards the right. Left arm reaches out. And right hand just gently resting. And then again, just letting your body arrive in the pose. So gravity does the work. You don't have to hold on to anything here. And if it already feels too intense, let yourself adjust into it. So this is a pose that gets deeper as we let go. It gets deeper as we give into gravity. So we don't want to start with our deepest stretch. We want to actually start just a little shy of that. Because as your body releases, you're going to fall more deeply into it. And you have to have somewhere to go. Oh. Couple more breaths here. Just letting the body arrive. And then again, if you don't already feel it on the front of your left shoulder, your left pec, you could try reaching your left arm a little bit more, or whichever arm is extended. And then soften that arm down. Let yourself fall back into the twist. Maybe let your chin come a little farther. Just notice if that changes anything for you. And another breath. All right, we're gonna draw ourselves back through center. This is kind of a little warm up to the body, a little warm up to the core. I'm gonna draw my feet come upwards towards the sky. I'm just letting my knees and my ankles stay nice and soft. It doesn't take a lot of work here. And then I'm going to do the same thing with my arms. I'm going to notice if I'm tensing in the front of the shoulder. I'm going to soften the upper arm bone down a little bit, not pushing, but so my arms are nice and relaxed and released. I'm going to take an inhale here. I'm going to exhale. I'm going to draw my chin into my chest, lift my shoulder blades up off the floor, head and shoulder blades. Now, if this is too much on your neck, try angling your neck down. And if that doesn't work, then just grab onto the back of your head. So I'm just getting a little warmth and heat in the core. Maybe you move your chin a little from side to side. Be sure the sides of the neck aren't doing all the work. And then I'm going to reach myself out into a big X, lowering my legs and my arms down, and just feel myself stretch out through my fingers. Maybe find a little crossways diagonal so I can think about my right foot attached to my left fingertips and reach out. And then opposite, I can find my right hand and left fingers. Okay, we're going to take that into a little core exercise and twist. So we haven't done this one for a month, but I'm going to take a look at my right hand. I'm going to reach my right hand up off the floor until it comes up over the right shoulder. And then I'm just going to notice if I'm tightening through that shoulder, and can I soften the front of the shoulder, maybe even let the elbow bend like I'm holding a beach ball with this arm. And then I'm going to tuck my chin into my chest where my hand gets over my face. I'm going to tuck the chin in, squeeze a little through the belly, and tap to the outside of my left hip. And then I'm going to reach myself right back out, reaching back into my big X, looking at my right hand as it comes down. So I just connect my neck muscles with my shoulder muscles and then soften back to center. All right, I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, taking a look over towards the left. I'm going to reach my left arm up. I'm going to pause for a moment when my left hand gets over my shoulder, both to just soften that shoulder down, right? Soften the front of the pec, but then also to remember that my head doesn't come up until my hand crosses the midline. It's really important for later. When you're ready, then you can tuck the chin in, squeeze a little through the belly, tap to the outside of the right hip, and then reaching back out, elongating my body, looking, inhale, look towards right. Exhale, float my hand up. When it crosses the midline, then I can lift the head, tap to the outside of the left hip. I'm going to take an inhale here. And then exhale, reach out and lower down. And then inhaling, looking left. Exhale, hand floats up. When the hand crosses the center of the body, then I can tuck the chin in and lift the head, tap to the outside of the right hip, take an inhale. And I'm going to exhale, reattach to that little squeeze in the belly and lower down. All right, I already feel my neck gripping a little bit today, so I'm just going to move my chin from side to side. Just be sure that the back of the neck is soft. Now, this next exercise connects with the idea of the side planks that we do, where the shoulder blade wraps into the serratus muscle or underneath the shoulder and the side. So we're just going to pay attention to that. So I'm going to take a look at my right hand. I'm going to do the same thing, just going to float it up off the floor when it crosses the midline. I'm going to lift my head, squeeze through the belly. This time I'm going to let my left hand support me. So I'm going to turn the palm down. I'm going to pull myself up until I tap to the outside of my left knee. Now check out what's happening in your left shoulder here. Are you sinking down through the shoulder, or can you push into the hand, let your shoulder blade move down onto the back? And then I'm going to slowly, the same way I came out of it, lower myself down, really thinking about this bottom shoulder and bottom arm. Shoulder blade moves away from the ear, but I use that hand for support as I slowly lower myself down and come back into my big X. All right, I'm going to take the other side, looking towards left, floating my left hand up off the floor, taking an inhale there. And then I'm going to remind my right shoulder to support me. My right hand turns down. I squeeze through the belly muscles, move my shoulder away from my ear to come up to sit. And then same thing here. Bottom shoulder blade moving on the back. This right hand is just sliding along the floor. It's okay if you come up to your elbow too, if you need a halfway in between point. All right, I'm going to do that again. Looking at the right hand. Crossing over when I'm ready, lifting the head, tap to the outside of the left knee. Use that bottom shoulder to support you. So I'm getting into my abdominals, my obliques, my serratus, the lats, just like waking up the entire core of the body. I'm going to stop calling it out. I'm going to let you just slowly move through on your own. So left side, tapping to the outside of the knee. And then just notice where you're gripping. Can your shoulders stay away from your ears? Can your legs even stay a little soft? So oftentimes the psoas muscle wants to take over and you'll see your knees want to kind of grip. I'm taking the right side again. If you're going a little faster or slower, that's fine. Letting that bottom arm slide in, letting my legs soften as I go. Oh, left side. All right. When you finish the next time on the left, you can come for big X. We're going to take this one together. We're going to look towards the right, cross over. This time we're going to go all the way to the ankle. So I'm going to tuck the chin in, same thing. The bottom arm supports me. And then this time I go all the way to the ankle, and I'm just going to take a little stretch there and take a couple of breaths. Your left hand can be wherever best supports you. Ah. And then I'm going to come up to sit. I'm going to walk my left hand straight out towards the left. I'm going to reach my right arm up towards the sky, but I'm going to sink my right hip and my right leg down so that I'm not lifting the hip up, but I'm still grounding down. So I'm just taking a little side bend here just to open up that body that we just worked. I'm going to inhale back up to my midline to get my spine long. Exhale, I'm going to tap my right hand back onto my left ankle. And then lowering down just the way I came. My left hand is going to slide along the floor. I'm going to use the strength of my belly to support me as I slowly lower myself down. And then opposite side. Left hand crosses over. I'm going to come all the way up to sit until I tap to the outside of my right ankle. Spend a couple of breaths there in a stretch. Just tapping onto the ankle, grounding down through the lower body. I find that I'm flexing and pointing my feet a lot today just to sort of wake up lower half of my body. Oh, I'm going to come back up to sit. I'm going to reach my right hand straight out to the right as I lift my left arm over, just coming into a gentle side bend here. I'm not lifting my left hip up, so I'm trying to keep my left hip grounded towards the floor so that I really get sort of maximum openness and stretch there on the left side. And then one more time, I'm going to inhale back to center. Exhale, just tap my left hand back onto the ankle, right ankle, and then squeeze through the belly as I slowly lower down. Coming back to big X, watching my left hand touch onto the floor. And then when you arrive there, you can go ahead and reach your arms straight up overhead, reach your legs right down below you. Just find a nice big stretch through the body. We're going to do one more thing on the back for the shoulders here. So I'm going to bend my knees. We're going to do a lot of shoulder strengthening. So we're starting with some opening today. So bottoms of my feet on the floor, arms to my T shape, and just be really sure that your hands are in line with your shoulders or a little lower. So try not to be higher on this one. You just look out to the side. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to look at my right hand. I'm going to reach my right arm up off the floor. This time it's just going right from the side body, right up over the chest. And then I'm going to keep reaching through my right finger, softening the right of my chest, the right front of the chest. And I'm going to tap my right fingers to the inside of my left arm. Now, some of you will really feel this and some of you won't feel it at all, and that's fine. But once you tap your fingertips onto your arm, notice if your hips swivel. See if you can keep your hips at center, not by squeezing, but by relaxing them down. And then I'm just going to sort of explore. Can I inch my right fingers a little bit more down my left arm? And I'm doing that with my finger pads. So like my fingers are a little spider. And the reason for that is I'm trying not to let the shoulder take over, trying to use some of the muscles of the forearms and let the back of the shoulder release. I'm going to breathe into the space between my shoulder blade and my spine. And then to come out of this, I'm going to reach just a millimeter farther and then float that arm back up towards the sky. Notice along the way, if the shoulder wants to lift up, can you soften it down and open back over to the right? Taking a look at the right hand, watching it touch down, and then coming back up to center. And taking an inhale here. And exhale, look over towards the left. I'm going to reach my left arm up off the floor, bringing the hand to hover over the chest. And then it's going to cross the midline and tap onto the inside of my right arm. And then I'm just thinking about breathing right back here between the shoulder blade and the spine. Yeah, I'm just thinking about that spot opening. Notice if your hips swiveled or twisted, try to soften them back to center. I'm going to inch my left fingers down my arm just a little bit more. I might get a nice firm stretch on the back of the shoulders. And then to come out of this, I'm going to inch my fingers just a little bit more, maybe just a millimeter or two, out through my fingertips. Come back through center. Notice if the front of the shoulder lifts up. Can I soften the back of the shoulder blade down? Watch the left hand tap onto the floor as I open. And then come back up to center. Just notice that expansiveness on the front of your chest. So even if you didn't feel it while you were in there, now you can feel that openness. So if you really want to repeat that one more time, you can, if you feel like that was a really good exercise for you. And if not, you can take the next 5 or so breaths to work yourself towards child's pose. And taking your time to get there. All right. So if you're on your back still, start to make your way towards child's pose. If you're already in child's pose, start to find the sound of the ocean on the back of your throat. So a little sound of a whisper, just to draw in even inhales and even exhales. All right, on my next inhale, I'm going to float myself forward to my hands and knees position. I'm going to extend my my right leg back. I already feel today I'm pretty tight on the backs of the legs. So I'm just going to give myself a little rock. Let's wake up the back of and side. You okay? I can hear you because you're unmuted, which is fine. I just hear you in my headphones, but you doing all right? Okay, good. All right, so we're going to come back to hands and knees position. We're going to do a little shoulder stabilization here. So I'm going to think about my front body moving towards my back body. So I'm not going to fall into a cow pose. I want to really find a nice neutral spine. I'm going to reach my right arm out to the right with the palm facing down. Turn the palm to face forward, and then I'm going to inhale and sweep the arm forward. And exhale, turn the palm and sweep the arm back. I'm going to inhale and scoop up with my palm, reach the arm forward, and exhale, flip the palm and push the air away. Just 2 more like that. Still thinking about your front body moving towards your back body so you're not sinking there. I can't remember. I think I said 2 more, right? Here we go. 1 more. Okay. Oof. All right, I'm going to end by inhaling and reaching my right arm out to the side just to get a little openness in the front of the chest. I'm ready to move my left arm. So I'm going to go straight over to the left, reach the left arm out, flip the palm forward, inhale, scoop up the air as I reach the arm forward. Exhale, push the air away. Then inhale to reach forward. Again, check out your front body. Make sure you're not sinking into your back. See if you can keep your shoulders nice and stable on the back. If it's too much for your wrist, I should have said this, but you can have your hand a little forward. That's fine. And exhale. They always say that in yoga classes, that you have to have your hands right under your shoulders, but that's not true. Don't listen to it. You can have them forward. It's not bad for you. Okay, when you're ready, reach yourself back to child's pose. Oh, I'm going to take an extended child's pose, reaching my arms forward so I can get a nice opening through my shoulders. Okay, if you're ready to take a downward facing dog, you can start to move towards a downward facing dog. We've warmed up the shoulders, opened the back of the legs a little, warmed up the core a little. Oh, goodness. Okay, Happy New Year. Just letting your body awaken to where it is at for today. Maybe keeping some movement. I like to bend my knees from side to side, like bend my left and straighten my right, and then bend my right and straighten my left. But as I do that, I think about my hips sort of moving in like a figure-8 pattern, just thinking about adding some movement, mobility, a sense of gliding in my hips and my knees. So not overstretching, but just kind of staying juicy and gliding in my hip sockets. We're going to start to walk the feet forward towards the hands. You can keep your knees nice and bent, and when you cannot get any farther, it's fine to walk your hands back towards your feet. By all means, please bend your knees here unless you have very open and strong hamstrings, so no need to overstretch. You can rest down on the thighs, and you can have as much space as you want between your feet. So for today, just taking it nice and easy. Width of the feet so that it feels good to you. This pose may not feel easy. You might be shaking in your legs, and that's fine. It's a good strengthener for the legs. All right, I'm going to take that action of sort of bending and straightening. So I'm going to shift my weight from side to side. I might still think about my hips sort of moving in a figure-8. If that doesn't make sense to you, that's okay. You can just move your hips around in a way that feels good. Keeping the knees nice and juicy, I'm going to use this action. I'm going to bring my hands up onto my thighs so that I have a little support. Oh, and then I'm going to bring my hands onto my thighs. Careful of your back here if you need to move your back around too to stay in its strength, and we will come up to. All right, I'm going to just awakening the surface of my palms. I'm going to take my palms and I'm just going to place them on the back of my neck and just feel that warmth down to the top of my shoulders. And then I'm going to start to put my hands on the top of my shoulders, but then kind of grip with my fingers and move my elbows up and down. I'm just giving myself a little massage here. Now, I invite you to stay with this massage if it feels good to awaken the top line of the shoulder, or you can take a fist and you could just give yourself a little tap on the top of the shoulder. You could tap down the back of the shoulder or the arm, just kind of letting yourself find a way to waken up there. Okay, so now with that back line of the shoulder kind of released and a little more open, we're going to roll the shoulders forward and then up. And then we're going to move the shoulders back and down towards one another. I don't like to use the word squeeze a lot, but you can think of them as sort of moving towards one another. And as I do that, I'm going to lift my chest up. And then I'm going to do that again. So I'm moving my shoulders forward and kind of collapsing my chest. Then I'm going to pick up my shoulders towards my ears, grow really tall. Then as I move my shoulder blades towards one another, I'm looking up and sort of sticking out the chest. We'll do that one more time. Oh my goodness. Sometimes when I do this, I get nauseous from the amount of release in the shoulders. Oh, okay. Oh. All right, I'm going to reach my arms back behind me. Now, you might find a strap here, or if it's available to you, you could interlace your hands behind the back. We're going to pull the clasp or the strap behind us as we lift the chest up. One more breath there. And then exhale, I'm going to soften my arms by my sides. On my next inhale, I'm going to reach my arms out and up. Feel myself grow tall. And then exhale, I'm going to forward bend over my legs. You could be moving through a long spine or rolling down the spine, whatever's right for your practice. I'm going to take a little strength builder on the way. So I'm just going to stop halfway, check out that my core lifts up to meet my back. So I'm nice and strong through my back, and then forward folding over the legs. Bending the knees from side to side. Oh. Ah. Then I'm going to bring my hands onto my thighs, maybe keeping that action. Coming back up to stand. All right, one more shoulder opener here. This one is going to require a strap or a belt. So I'm the kind of person that I kind of, like I'm always adding a little something. So I always like to have most of my props nearby. Okay, so I'm going to take my hands in a wide V position here. And you could, if you want, wrap them around, but you might have to unwrap at some point. When I wrap the strap around my hands, it just means I create like a little bit of a lock, like a little bit of friction tension, so I don't have to hold as much with my hands. All right, I'm going to reach my arms up here with the strap. And I'm going to think about growing tall through my midline. So my feet are grounded down, I'm reaching out, and then I'm just going to take a little side bend, not by collapsing, but by lifting my left arm up towards the sky. And then I come back up to center and take a little side bend over towards the right. Now I want you to notice here, if you're kind of collapsing forward, see if you can stay upright as if you're between two panes of glass. And you're side bending between those two panes. Oh my goodness. I had a physical therapist that used to talk about how the spine moves like kind of a snake, but even when we're upright, there's a little bit of side to side movement of the vertebrae. And I really loved that idea of like, oh, how can I find a snake-like feeling, not necessarily front to back, which a lot of us are more familiar with from like cat cow and stuff like that, but a sense of snaking as I walk. Okay, so then when you're ready, we're going to pause. I'm going to unwrap my hands because for this one, I know I'm going to need extra space for my shoulders. So we're going to start to reach the hands back behind. And as you do that, you'll feel the chest open. Now, if you need to slide your hands wider, you can. And I'm going to show this from the side just so you're seeing it, right? So I'm just letting the hands come back behind me. My shoulder blades then sort of just naturally pinch together, on the back. And I get a nice opening in the chest. And then I'm going to reverse it. Now I want you to notice as you reverse it, do you stick your chest out and instead can you stay nice and long through the spine? So we're not falling into the lower back. We're going to keep the lower back neutral here so that the chest has to be the one that opens. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm going to do that one more time. Waking up that heart, waking up that torso. Okay, when you're ready, you can go ahead and release that strap down. If you need to do a little grab or in the shoulders, a little massage. We're going to step to the front of the mat. We're just going to come into standing poses from here today. So I'm going to just step my right foot back and I'm going to come into a high lunge. So the back heel is up off the floor and I've got the heel over my toes, my front knee, my left leg is bended. I'm bent. I'm going to reach my arms up towards the sky. And then I'm going to straighten my front leg for a moment, just finding the strength of my legs. I'm going to inhale here, shoulders are soft. Exhale, bend the front knee and bend your elbows. Just deepen right into the drop of the pose. Back leg nice and strong and straight. Inhale, I'm going to lift up. And then exhale, I'm going to bend. As I lift up, I straighten my front leg. I lift my arms up, but my shoulders stay soft. And as I bend, I deepen and I keep my back leg nice and straight and strong. 2 more. And 1 more. All right, I'm going to inhale, I'm going to lift up, and then this time I'm going to flip my back heel down onto the floor and a wide foot, so my foot's out to the side, and open my arms. And I want you to notice here, if you feel like your left hip is dropped back, your front hip is dropped, see if you can sort of even your playing field. So think about your waistband, knee forward and in line with the toes. Coming into warrior 2. Oh, I'm letting my palms face upwards here. Now, I'm a little winded because I'm talking and moving at the same time, but if you wanted to keep going with some movement here, you could inhale and straighten your front leg, lift your arms up, and then exhale, find your bend. We'll take 4 more breaths. You can either move through or just stay. All right, I'm going to let my back hand come down the back leg. Keep my front knee bent just for a breath. Inhale, lift up, find your side body. Reverse warrior, not by collapsing, but by lifting. And then I'm going to move all the way into triangle pose. So I'm going to reach my arms out. I'm going to heel toe my back foot in, and then bring that left hand down towards the floor. Out through your knee. See if you can pull and lift your kneecap up, or you could also think of micro bending that front leg. That's also very helpful. And then again, just for a breath, I'm going to find another pose. I'm going to bend my front knee. I'm going to reach my arm out and find my extended side angle. It's a little short. That's okay. And I'm going to lower my hands down, step myself back, downward facing dog. You could also be stepping forward to hang over your legs. If that's more available in your practice, you could be finding child's pose. I'm going to tap my knees down to the floor. You could also do this with your knees lifted from downward facing dog. I'm going to tuck my tailbone around my spine and rock my weight forward and find my cat pose. And exhale, I'm going to rock back into cat pose. And if you're coming from downward facing dog, you can rock forward to cat plank pose with the knees up, and then exhale, rock back, downward facing dog. And just a couple rocks to find still some strengthening in the shoulders and in the back, some work happening in the core. Let's do one more. When you're ready, you can find your downward facing dog or your child's pose. If you're hanging over your legs, you can stay. Oh, okay. I'm going to do that nice, slow, juicy walk of my feet forward towards my hands. You can always walk your hands back towards your feet when you're not getting any farther. I'm going to bend my knees here. You could do that nice, juicy roll up. For right now, I'm going to find a nice, long spine. It's building a little strength and then reaching up. All right, we're all going to meet by coming to stand. We're going to do a little strengthening for the glutes here. So I'm going to bring my hands over to just behind me on my bottom. I'm going to touch the bottom on my bottom. Now, a lot of people are really obsessed with doing really low squats, and that's fine for the thighs. You get a lot of strength, but I'm really concerned with building my muscles back here. So I'm going to bend my knees a little bit. I'm going to keep my spine nice and long, like I'm in a chair pose, and then I'm just going to find those muscles down there. And I'm going to feel them squeeze, and that's going to lift me back up to stand. I'm going to do that just 4 more times. So I'm just trying to find a little bit of my glute maximus working to support me. So for me, this ends up being really important when I've been sitting around a lot, either working on a computer or sitting around and resting. All right, we'll just do one more. When you're ready, you can inhale, reach your arms out and up, feel yourself grow tall. And then I'm going to come right into my standing poses on the other side. So I'm going to bring my left foot back, my right foot is forward. You can lift your back heel right over, straighten that leg, bend your front knee. I'm going to float my arms up towards the sky. I'm in high lunge pose. And then I'm going to inhale and straighten my front leg. And exhale. Oh, gosh, you can continue that on your own breath. Sorry, I think we also did the arms with this. So I think we, let's see, lifted up and inhaled, and then exhale, we bent the elbows and bent the front knee. Inhale, lifting up. And exhale, bending. So as I inhale and lift up, my shoulders stay down. Find my balance. Exhale, I bend my front knee. I feel that back leg straight and strong. 2 more. Connecting with the midline, noticing how your balance may rock around, and that's fine. Oh, hey. I'm going to inhale and straighten. And then I'm going to open out to a T shape, foot my back heel down towards the floor. Now again, just check out your waistline here. Are you dropping your front hip? Can you lift that right hip up in order to bend your front knee into your warrior 2? My back toes are out to the side. I like to have my palms up when I feel like I'm a little tense through my shoulders. And then you could stay here. If you want to add a little strengthener, you can inhale, straighten your front leg, lift your arms up, and exhale to bend. Three more breaths here, wherever you're at. All right, I'm going to take a reverse warrior just for breath by letting my left hand come down, but lifting my right arm up, 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 up. And then exhale, float myself towards a triangle. So I'm going to heel toe my back foot in a little bit, cut my right hip underneath me, and bring my left hand down. Oh boy. Okay, if you took a half bind on the other side, you can turn your palm to face back, reach the arm behind the back, touching the back of the sacrum or the inside of the right hip crease. And keeping a little soft bend in here. And then just check out where your head's at. And see if you have a tendency to push forward. I think especially when we're watching videos while doing yoga, it's really easy to push forward. So can you get into the back of your head, the back of your body here? Oh. And then coming into an extended side angle just for a breath. So bending the front knee, reach that top arm, bring your hands down to frame your front foot, and you can step back into your downward facing dog, or you could come up to stand, whatever is in your practice. If you're in downward facing dog and you want to inhale forward to a long plank pose, and then exhale, lower all the way down. Inhale to lift up through the chest and find a baby cobra or upward facing dog. And then exhaling, moving back. We're going to move back to a wide knee child's pose. In my wide knee child's pose, I'm gonna let my knees come wide, my toes touch. I'm gonna reach my arms long and then bend my elbows so that my fingertips come up towards the sky, or I can bring them back to touch onto the shoulders. When you're ready, reaching your arms long again. I'm going to walk my hands the width of my shoulders so they're nice and wide. I'm going to float my elbows off in this child's pose so I feel my arms engaging. And then I'm going to float my forehead just an inch up off the floor. And then I'm going to lengthen the top line of my shoulders, meaning let the outside of my armpit fall down towards the floor so that the shoulders aren't up to the ears. And then I push into the shins and float myself back to hands and knees. You could also float back to downward facing dog, either one. We're going to meet by stepping the right foot to the outside of the right hand. So your choice. If you're a down dog split along the way, lifting the right leg up towards the sky, you can. And then we're going to step that right foot all the way to the outside of the right hand, and you can do whatever you need. From here, I'm going to give a little love and attention to my back knee. So I'm just going to float my back knee up off the floor. We'll move it back maybe like an inch and then pull forward so that I roll over the top of the kneecap. We're coming in towards a lizard pose. And my blocks are mistakenly at the back of my mat, but you could bend your elbows here, or you could lower your elbows down onto your blocks. You can also lower your elbows to the floor if you're very flexible, but be mindful if you're one of those people like me who's a little mobile through your joints. So for people who are mobile through our joints, it's very easy to overstretch in yoga, and instead we actually kind of want to draw everything into the joints. So another thing you could think about here is drawing your legs towards the center line of your mat, and that will automatically engage you a little bit more. I think I've shared this. I do a lot of rock climbing. This is sort of a counter to my yoga practice. So yoga is a lot of pushing, right? And rock climbing is a lot of pulling, which is really, really helpful just for those of us who have very mobile joints. That pulling action sort of draws things in. Okay, enough talking. Here we go. We're gonna move the front leg towards straight. I'm in a wide sort of half splits pose. You can use whatever you need to support you. You could stay with your toes up here. You could also turn your toes and your knee out to the side if you feel like you want to get a little different stretch in your hamstring. It's too much pressure on the back knee. You could also have your foot down on the floor and both legs moving towards straight. Okay. Oh, really good in there. All right, I'm going to turn my toes and my knee back up to center. I'm going to bend my front knee. I'm going to do one more little pose here. So I'm going to turn my foot out to the side. I'm going to rotate my foot about 45 degrees. Then I'm going to flex my toes up off the floor. And then I'm going to roll to the outside of my right foot, but without collapsing the ankle fully. So that means the knee has to open with it. And your ankle has to stay active. And then from here, I get a little opening on the back of the hip. You might rock your weight from side to side. I don't even need the blocks here. I got plenty of information without the blocks. Okay, and then we are going to actually do one more thing. If it's too much on your knee, you could take a break. I'm going to move that front leg towards straight. This time I'm going to heel toe the foot out so it's out to the side even more. It's sort of in line like with my shoulder, so not in line with the hip, but in line with the shoulder. And then from here, same thing that we did in lizard pose. You could bend your elbows, or you could bring yourself down onto your elbows, either all the way down if you're nice and open, or onto your blocks. I'm going to give myself a little rock forward and back breath. All right, when you're ready, you can replace your hands under your shoulders, come back to your hands and your knees, float back to child's pose or downward facing dog. If moving through vinyasa is a part of your practice, you could take that now. If you want to do those rocks forward to cat spine and rocks back, you can do those as well. There's lots of different ways to treat the vinyasa or the moving in between, the transition. All right, I'm going to float my left leg up towards the sky and down dog split. If you didn't take it on the other side, you don't have to take it on this side either. And then stepping the left foot to the outside of the left hand and lowering the back knee down. Again, I like to really set my back knee up for success here. So I'm going to move the knee back an inch or two so that I plant the patellar or the kneecap on the floor. Then I'm going to pull the weight of the rest of my body forward. So this thigh bone is sort of pulling forward, and that kind of almost like taffy. I'm kind of like pulling so that the kneecap stays down. Okay, bending the elbows here, or maybe coming down onto blocks. And drawing my legs a little towards the midline of my mat so I get a little strengthening in my joints as I do this, not overstretching or splaying into my lower back. All right, when you're ready, you can move that front leg towards straight. Again, you could have your back knee down here, or if it's too much pressure, you can lift yourself up. And then also if you want to turn your toes and your knee out to the side, you're just adding a slightly different stretch there. And I'm going to turn my toes back up to center to rebend the knee just in its alignment. Then I'm going to turn that front foot out to the side by 45 degrees, flex the foot, roll onto the outside of that front foot so the knee has to open. And I'm not fully collapsing through the ankle, but I'm thinking about the ankle not sickling, meaning that I keep the toes and the knee in line with one another. This also can be done with the back knee up off the floor. So if you want a little more strength building or you're feeling too much pressure on the knee, you can also do that as well. And then one more pose here. We're gonna heel to that front foot out to the side as I move the weight of my hips back a little bit. So my hips are over my right knee. I'm gonna heel to that foot out to the side so that the leg is nice and long, as if you're gonna do a gate pose. You should show this to the side because the camera is really not at an optimum angle. But we've done this before, so if you've been in class before, your foot is just out to the side, it's in line with the shoulder, and then your choice, bending your elbows or coming down onto the elbows on the blocks. Maybe rocking forward and back with your breath. All right, when you're ready, you can come back onto the hands, move back, child's pose or downward facing dog. In the next 3 to 5 breaths, we're going to meet on the back. So however you would like to get there. And then just check out your energy once you arrive. Do you feel ready to rest? Do you feel like you have a little more to awaken in your body? We're going to move into a back bend here. So if you'd like to take a more restful version, you can pick up your hips, slip a block underneath you on the lowest to middle height, and let your hips, or the weight of your pelvis, I should say, rest on that block. If you want to take a little more active version, then you can lift up your hips, grab the sides of your mat or interlace your fingers underneath you, walk your shoulders towards one another, and stay here in a half wheel or bridge pose. Try to keep your knees in line with your toes, so not splaying the knees outwards. If you're splaying your knees outwards, chances are you're going too high with your hips and you can soften a little bit through the hip crease. And then I'm just going to play a little bit here. I'm going to move my feet just really in line with my hip sockets. I'm going to play with that idea of lifting my right foot up towards the sky, finding a little balance and a little strength on my left glute and my left hamstring, and then trading. Noticing what gets tight. Does the jaw tighten? Does the tongue tighten? Can you soften those places? And then when you're ready, you can lower down, untucking the shoulders. If you're on the block, you can stay. And then your choice, you could Now move into the more restful version. You could take that again if you like. Whatever you think that your body needs. If you're in the restful version and you want to try lifting your legs, you can. So as long as the block is really sturdy underneath the pelvis, you could still try finding a little balance there, lifting the right leg up towards the sky. And then lifting the left leg up towards the sky. And both feet down on the ground. And then we'll meet by lying on the back. I'm going to come back into the same twist that I started in. So I'm going to move my hips over towards the left side of my mat, feet and legs over towards the right. And then I'm just going to notice what feels different in my body since I started. I'm just naming some of those shifts. I definitely feel a temperature change. I actually feel a little tighter in my chest because I've got my arm a little higher this time. I'm a little deeper in the pose. I definitely feel that my muscles are more awake. I feel a little more pressure on the back of my head, which makes me think that my neck is a little tense. So I'm just naming these things as an example. You feel free to just name what your experience is on your own. And then we'll move to the other side. I'm going to go hips up and over towards the right, knees and feet over towards the left. And then opening myself out. All right, when you're ready, you can draw yourself back to center. Take any last adjustments that you need for your body. If you need extra clothing or to be warm, you can put that on now. If you need padding for under your knees because you have some low back pain, you could roll up a blanket. And then coming to lie down on the back. Letting the arms rest at the sides, turning the palms to face upwards towards the sky. And this gesture of receiving and awakening. As if you could just find a gentle breath through the palms of the hands. An awakening of energy. As if the breath could enter the palms and fill your whole body. Take a moment to deepen your breath. And as you deepen, if you're ready to find movement, adding some movement back in. And then if you're ready to come up to sit, and taking the next 3 to 5 breaths or so to come back up to sit. And I'm going to place my hands on my thighs here and turn my palms up. Again, in that gesture of receiving, a sense of awakening the body through the palms of my hands. Then I can inhale to lift the heart and open to energy. And exhale, forward bending and sealing my practice. Thanks everybody today for joining. Just a reminder, no Tuesday daytime class for the month of January, but there will be no Thursday evening. So Tuesday, oh boy, all over the place. Here we go. No Thursday daytime. It's just Tuesday daytime. And then eventually there's going to be probably a Thursday evening class, but I'll be making more announcements about that. So if you haven't already gone to the website to sign up for the newsletter, you can get updates about class schedule changes, or if you want to follow us on Instagram, I also post the updates to class schedule changes on Instagram. Thanks everyone. Happy New Year.